Okay, we've all been there. You go to bed, you're exhausted, you're finally ready for a full night's sleep, and then, bam, 2 in the morning, that all too familiar feeling hits, and you're stumbling to the bathroom, your deep sleep completely shattered. Now, you probably blame that last glass of water, or maybe you just write it off as, hey, I'm just getting older. But what if I told you that's not the real story? Not even close. See, this really gets to the heart of it. Your bladder isn't the villain here. It's just the messenger, the one sounding the alarm. The real problem, the actual culprits, are these powerful forces, gravitational shifts, and issues with your body's internal thermostat that are forcing your kidneys to work overtime when they should be resting. So let's ask the big question, why is this really happening? Why are so many of us fighting the same battle night after night? Well, the answer is probably not what you think, and it goes way, way beyond just how much water you're drinking. In fact, we're going to count down the 5 biggest and honestly most surprising mistakes that are the real reason you're waking up. And you're going to want to stick around because the number 1 culprit is the one that's most overlooked, but it is by far the most powerful. The good news? The solution for you could start tonight. All right, let's dive right in with mistake number 5, believing in the 3-hour liquid myth. Look, most of us know not to chug a giant bottle of water right before bed. But the real mistake is totally underestimating how long your body needs to process even a small amount of liquid. The rule isn't just drink less at night. It's stop drinking altogether way earlier than you think. And to get why, we have to talk about this amazing hormone called ADH. It's supposed to naturally rise at night, and its job is to basically tell your kidneys, hey, shut it down for a bit, go into low power mode. This is your body's built-in defense system to help you sleep through the night. But when you drink fluids too close to bedtime, you're fighting against this hormone, keeping your kidneys fired up like it's the middle of the day. This is the perfect way to think about it. High levels of ADH are like hanging a do not disturb sign on your kidneys. Every time you drink late at night, you're basically ripping that sign right off the door and telling them to get back to work. And this isn't just a guess, we have the data. A study in the Journal of Clinical Urology found something pretty incredible. People who had a strict 3-hour liquid cutoff before bed, they reduced their nightly wake-ups by 40%. That's huge compared to people with just a 1-hour rule. So the solution is simple. Front-load your hydration. Drink plenty of water in the morning and afternoon. Okay, moving on to mistake number 4, the late dinner and what I call the hidden diuretic trap. So let's say you've managed your liquids perfectly, but you're still waking up. The very next place you need to look is your dinner plate. And this is a 2-part problem: when you eat, and maybe even more importantly, what's in that meal. We all know that things like coffee and alcohol are diuretics, no surprise there. But did you have any idea they're also hiding in some of the healthiest foods we eat? I'm talking about things like celery, cucumbers, asparagus, even bell peppers. These are all natural diuretics, which means they literally make your body produce more urine. And for some people, even spicy foods can irritate the bladder, creating that feeling of urgency. So yeah, that big, super healthy salad packed with cucumbers and bell peppers that you ate at 9 o'clock, that could be the exact reason your bladder is screaming at you just a few hours later. The fix here is to try and finish your last big meal 3 to 4 hours before bed, and maybe think about having that salad for lunch instead. All right, let's talk about mistake number 3. This one's a little different. It's all about your behavior. You're getting ready for bed, you make that last trip to the bathroom, but you're in a hurry. You're distracted, maybe you're scrolling on your phone. You feel empty enough, so you just hop into bed. This is a huge mistake, but it's also incredibly easy to fix. Urologists actually have a name for the fix. It's called the double voiding technique. And you should make this the absolute last thing you do before your head hits the pillow. First, sit down, and yes, even for guys, because sitting helps relax the pelvic floor muscles. Go normally, then, here's the key, just stay there. Wait for about 30 to 60 seconds. Lean forward just a little bit and try to go again. You will be absolutely amazed at how much more you can empty your bladder and what a difference that makes. Now for mistake number 2, and I bet this is one you've probably never even considered, the temperature of your bedroom. Your body is like this incredibly sensitive thermostat, and the temperature of the room you're sleeping in has a direct and really powerful effect on how your kidneys function overnight. And it turns out both extremes are a problem. If your room is too hot, it can actually suppress that ADH hormone we talked about, and it keeps you in a lighter stage of sleep. So you're way more aware of even the slightest urge. But if it's too cold, your body does something called cold diuresis. It constricts the blood vessels in your arms and legs to keep your core warm. All that extra blood rushes to your core, and your kidneys think, whoa, there's way too much fluid here, and they kick into high gear to filter it out.
So what's the magic number? Well, the research is really clear on this one. The ideal temperature range for sleep is a surprisingly cool 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 18 to 20 Celsius. That really is the sweet spot for deep sleep and for keeping your kidneys calm.
And now, we've arrived at the #1 mistake. This is the one that affects almost everyone, especially as we get a little older. And it's the biggest aha moment for most people. And it has nothing to do with what you eat, what you drink, or your thermostat. It's about physics. It's the gravity problem. Think about it. All day long, you're either standing or sitting, and all day long, gravity is pulling fluid down into your lower body. Some of this fluid actually seeps out of your blood vessels and gets trapped in the tissues of your legs, your feet, and your ankles. The technical name for this is peripheral edema, and to some degree, it happens to just about everyone. So what happens when you finally lie down flat for the first time in maybe 16 hours? Well, gravity isn't holding all that fluid down in your legs anymore. And over the next few hours, all that trapped liquid starts to seep back into your bloodstream. Your kidneys suddenly sense this massive, delayed surge of fluid, and they have absolutely no choice but to kick into overdrive to filter it all out, right around 2 or 3 in the morning. But you can outsmart gravity. And this is probably the single most effective thing you can do. For 1 to 2 hours before you actually plan to go to sleep, elevate your legs. Seriously. While you're on the couch reading or watching TV, just lie down and prop your legs up on a few pillows or even up against the wall. The goal is simple. Get your ankles higher than your heart. This lets all that fluid drain back into your system early so your kidneys can do their job before you go to sleep, not in the middle of the night.
And even when you get into bed, your sleeping position still matters. Sleeping on your back with a pillow under your knees can definitely help. But for a lot of people, sleeping on your left side with a pillow between your knees is even better because it takes any direct physical pressure off your bladder.
Okay, I know that was a lot of information and it can feel totally overwhelming. So let's just bring it all home and talk about your first step for tonight. We're gonna call it the rule of 1. Please do not try to fix all 5 of these things tonight. I'm serious. Trying to change everything all at once is just a recipe for failure. It's the fastest way to get frustrated and just give up completely. Instead, I want you to embrace this rule of 1. Just pick the one mistake from this list that really made a light bulb go off for you. The one that made you say, aha, that's me. Because it's those small, consistent wins that create real, lasting change. So what was it? What was your aha moment? Was it the hidden diuretics in that late-night salad? The temperature in your bedroom? Or was it the big one, the gravity problem? That's your starting line. Pick that one thing and make it your only mission for the next couple of nights. That one single change could be your very first step toward finally getting back that deep, uninterrupted sleep you deserve.